All right, folks, here's the question 31, numeric response and written response solutions. So this is how I would solve this one. David received a check for $120. He spent 2/5 of it, spent another 14/50, and spent 1/5. So the first thing I want to do is figure out how much fraction did he spend. So you're going to take that 2/5 plus the 4/15 plus the 1/5, all right? Now if we create common denominators here, we'll get 6/15 plus 4/15 plus 3/15. Now if we add that together, 6 plus 4 plus 3, that's going to be 13/15 that he has spent. So fractions always add up to 1. So 15 out of 15 would be full, minus the 13/15 that he spent, leaves us with 2/15 remaining. So we got to take that 2/15 and we're going to multiply that by how much money he has, 120. 120 is the same as 120 over 1. Now if you multiply your numerators and your denominators, 2 times 120 is 240. 15 times 1 is just 15. And if we simplify that, 240 divided by 15, that's going to leave me with, or David, in fact, with $16, which is answer B. Let's zip over to the numeric response, and we'll do these ones pretty quick. Again, you can pause these videos as necessary and just rewatch the solution. So the mixed number can be expressed as an improper fraction. So we're looking at 2 2/3. If you multiply the denominator and then add the top, so 2 times 3 plus 2, that gives me 8/3. So the tricky part here might be to put them in correct order. So it says put the numerator and then the denominator. So the answer would be 83. We're going to do the opposite for this one. We're going to take 21/4 and change it to a mixed number. So if we think about our multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, or 20. And then the next one's 24. 20 is the farthest we can get. We can only, use up to 21. So that's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth multiple. So we get 5 full numbers. We've used up 20 of those 21, so there's 1/4 left over. Now we got to put them in order. The 5 comes first, then the numerator, then the denominator. So 5, 1, 4 is how you'd put this one in your numeric response. The hottest day in Canada was 45 degrees Celsius. So make a little number line. We got 45 degrees Celsius up here. And then the coldest day was negative 63 degrees Celsius. So we got to figure out the total difference. Okay? Now remember, it gets to 0 first and then it starts falling into the negatives. So if we're figuring out the difference, we actually need to add the two numbers together. So 45 plus 63, that's 108 degrees difference. A small glass holds 2/5 a cup of water. A jug holds 10 cups. So we've got this big jug of water with 10 cups. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be scooping out smaller cups out of it. All right? So if we're scooping out smaller cups, this is a division problem. So 10 divided by 2/5. All right? Now if we're dividing by a fraction, that's 10 times 5/2. 10 is the same as 10/1 multiplied by 5/2. So that's 50/2, and 50 divided by 2, you can use your calculator or your head. There's going to be 25 cups that we could actually get out of that. It takes 36 cans of dog food to feed all the dogs. So we start with 36, and we're dividing it into 3/4 of cups. So again, that's 36/1 multiplied by 4/3. Multiply your numerators. 36 times 4 is 144. 3 times 1 is 3. So what we end up with is 144/3. And if we reduce that, that is 48 dogs could be fed. On to the next. A group of 20 members and 5 non-members visited a museum. So we got 20 members. They're all paying $6. So they would have spent 120. And then we got 5 non-members paying $10. So they spent $50. Well, together, that's $170. But we're going to take that 170 and we're going to split it evenly amongst all the people. So each person has to pay $6.80. 75 carpenters on a crew, 66 showed up for work, so we got 66 out of 75 showing up. 66 divided by 75, that's 0.88. That's our decimal version, and if we want to change to a percent, you multiply by 100. So that gives us 88% showed up. 70% of the people at a hockey game cheer for the Oilers. There are 5,200 people at the game, the number of fans that do not cheer. All right, well, if 70% cheer for the Oilers, that means 30% do not. Okay, so 30% as a decimal is 0.30. We're going to take that decimal version of that percent, multiply it by how many people showed up. So 0.3 times 5,200. There's 1,560 people that do not cheer for the Oilers. Last numerical response, a metal bar weighs 30 ounces, 92% is made of silver. So 92% as a decimal is 0.92. And if we multiply it by 30, you should get 27.6 ounces. Okay, on to the written response. So in our first big set of brackets, we got to do multiplication first. So we get 10 minus a negative 21 plus 9 divided by 5. So on our calculators, 10 minus a negative 21 plus 9 gives me 40. And 40 divided by 5 is 8. All right, over here. Finish off the top set of brackets there. So 12 minus a negative 4. That's going to be 16 times negative 3. And then the denominator, 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. All right, 16 times negative 3, the top part, numerators give me negative 48. And 4 minus a negative 4 is 8. So negative 48 divided by 8, our answer is going to be negative 6. All right, finish off the brackets here. So 5, 6 divided by, we need a common denominator. So multiply this by 2 over 2. We get 8 6 plus 1 6th. Now 8 6 plus 1 6th is 9 6th. All right. Now if we are dividing by a fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. 6 and the 6 will simplify, so we're left with 5 ninths. 5 times 1 and 1 times 9. Last two questions here, folks. Luke has 2 hours of homework. He has assignments to complete for social studies and math and science test. He spends 2/5 of it completing the social studies assignment and 1/4 of it on math. So let's figure out the study fraction. So 2/5 plus 1/4. All right, for adding fractions, we need a common denominator. You might have to spend some time and figure out that the common denominator is going to be 20. So 8/20 plus 5/20, that will give me 13/20 spent studying. So if that's the fraction of time spent studying, that means that he's got 7/20 left to do whatever he wants with, all right? Now, his total time was 2 hours. We want the answer in minutes, so 2 hours in minutes. There's 60 minutes per hour, so 60 times 2. There's 120 minutes up for grabs. 120 is the same as 120 over 1. If we multiply our numerators and multiply our denominators now, 7 times 120 is 840, and 20 times 1 is 20. 840 divided by 20 equals 42 minutes. So there's 42 minutes left to study for the science test. Last question here. Pamela bought an electric drill for $86.40. electric drill was on sale for 15% off. All right, so let's figure out how much she gets to save. So 15% divided by 100 is 0.15. We're going to take that 0.15 and multiply it by the price to figure out how much she saved. 0.15 times 86.40 is $12.96 in savings. Okay, so that's how much she saves. But now we're going to figure out the price. So the original price was $86.40. She gets to save $12.96. So let's figure out what the actual price of the item is, and we get $73.44. That's how much she actually has to pay for the drill.